right, hot take. Clemson makes it back to the playoffs. What do you think?
100%. They're in. They're in, Christian. Now, actually, they're not. You know why? Because I didn't have them in my fucking playoff top 4 a couple weeks ago. Did I not?
I don't believe you did, but I did.
I did not, and I think it's between them and fucking Oregon. And this is what pisses me off. I was kind of jumping to conclusions there to start the whole thing, to see if you caught on to if you actually pay attention to what the fuck I tell you. But no, I think here's what sucks. I actually remember in that segment, though, I said it's between them and the ACC. Only one of those teams are going to get one team in. And I'm very high on Clemson this year. I think they win the ACC. I think they beat Florida State out for it. I think UNC is going to be really tough in that conference as well. It sucks, man. I'm really still, I kind of want to change my mind on that. But I think Oregon this year is going to run the table in the Pac-12. And I think Clemson could have one loss. And I think Florida State Clemson this year is going to be very, very important. So that's where I'm at with that, man. And it's not like, it's not, what did Clemson finish last year, Christian? What, like 8-4? They had a really down year. Did they not?
Let's see.
They were, it wasn't good for Clemson standards, right? I mean, they've always been competing for a fucking national title, you know?
Let me see here. Hold on one second. You bring up a good point.
Yeah, what was it? Like
to me,
3 or I mean, they had quite a few losses last year. It was a rough year. They had DJ Ungalei or whatever the hell his name is, and then they brought in what's his bucket to fill him in, and he got all pissed, and he'd already transferred before like the season was done. A lot of drama going over there with Dabo's team.
I got you. You bring up a good point there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
Bro. Nah, bro. I knew they weren't 8-4, but they were
10-2.
Yeah. They had 2 losses last year.
Jesus.
No, sorry. They lost to Tennessee in the bowl game. They were, if I'm not mistaken, they were 10-3.
Okay. That feels a little bit better. I thought they had 4 fucking losses. I mean, I guess I apologize coming on air and sound like I knew what the hell I was talking about. I guess no, go ahead.
Sorry, they were 11-3 last year.
They were 11-3. Okay. 2022. I'll pull it up here just to make sure, man. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they were 11-3. Notre Dame lost, South Carolina by 1, and then Tennessee in the bowl game. Syracuse, Syracuse sucked last year. I don't care what anybody says. Wow, Wake Forest double overtime, 51-45 win. That was a PUD schedule they played last year, though, for the most part, other than FSU, Syracuse. I don't think Syracuse was that good last year. It's just me.
Yeah, and if you think that was a PUD schedule.
North Carolina win was impressive at the end of the year, though. Wow.
Yeah. If you think that was a PUD schedule, Chris, watch what's going to happen this year. I mean, this year it's going to get a lot easier for them. The other thing, too.
Really easy. What you're saying?
Yeah, they definitely do. And I'll get into that here in a second. Let's take a look at this, okay? So here's the other side of it, all right? Clemson last year, and this is why they struggled a lot, they ranked 48th in the country last year in total offense.
Wow.
You know, that's really actually not as bad as you would think. I dug a little bit deeper, though, right? And they're ranked 73rd in pass efficiency. By the way, I don't think this is a hot take. I think Clemson, and I picked them to get back into the playoffs this year. I absolutely think it is going to happen, so I'm really high on them. 73rd in pass efficiency last year. Here's where they really fucked up last year. They have to stop turning the fucking ball over. They finished tied. Okay, they finished tied in the rankings last year, 9th in turnovers, lost.
Wow. Well, part of that dude was DJ. I mean, that kid played one good game in his whole college career. That was a game where Trevor Lawrence didn't play the year before. You know what I mean? He came in against Notre Dame and fucking lit the world up. He also had some crazy good receivers. Other than that, I was never impressed with that kid. And I don't want to piss anybody off from Clemson, but he was very overrated, in my opinion. He was kind of had the Brett Favre thing. You know what I mean? Going to throw it in a tight window and flip a coin. You know what I mean? I could see that. I did watch a couple Clemson games last year, man. They look not very good compared to what I hold Clemson to such a high standard. So, yeah. Go ahead, though.
No, I don't think you're pissing anybody off. I think you're exactly right. My next point was Cade Klubnik he's got to be better than DJ was last year for sure.
I think he will be. I think he will be.
Here's the other side of it. Will Shipley, the running back last year that they had, we take a look at Cade Klubnik and what his stats were last year. I mean, he played in some games. He played very sparingly throughout the year. He put up pretty much, I think he had like 2 games where he really 2 or 3 games where he really contributed. He almost put up 700 yards. He had, I think, 4 touchdowns because he had 2 rushing touchdowns, but he had 3 interceptions. So the guy's got to play a lot better than that, and I think he will.
And he came in like because DJ sucked. You know what I mean? Like he didn't really have a fair share at the job. You know what I'm saying? DJ was very highly recruited, if I'm not mistaken. Very highly recruited.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think he was one of the better quarterbacks, if not the guy out of that class. So out of his class. But I think the other thing too, while Cade Klubnik kind of gets, a little bit more footing to establish there, is a guy, Will Shipley, who I had as one of the top 5 running backs in college football. Dude is a stud, man. 210 touches last year, 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. I mean, the guy was electric out there. I think he even put up a little bit of some receiving stats too, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, the kid can ball out, but they got to get him kind of involved early in this offense. Go ahead.
Is that Jordan Shipley's brother from Texas?
No,
I was curious.
I don't think so. Well, no, because I think the Shipleys, if I'm not mistaken, they're all from Texas. This kid's from North Carolina.
Okay, you're right. Okay. Just curious.
So, but here's the other side of it, dude. They need someone to step up in that wide receiver room too.
No, they do. And what's crazy is because they've had guys like D-Hop, Amari Rogers, holy shit, I'm missing a couple. T. Higgins, guys like that, you know what I mean? They've always had like a dominant wide receiver, core of guys. Hunter Renfrow, there's another crazy good guy. God, he was insane with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, those guys, or Deshaun Watson, like those guys, like they've always had guys that definitely could play. You know what I mean? At the wide receiver position. They've also had really good running backs too. You had Travis Etienne. Who's the guy before him wasn't bad either. I think it was I'm missing his name right now, but like you're right though. You bring up a good point with Clemson. I do think overall though, with the hot take, and I love this segment, is like I'm very torn on between them and Oregon. One of those 2 teams is going to get in. And I know you like USC a lot this year. We had some debates about that as well. But I'm very, if Clemson makes it, it will not surprise me. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it really wouldn't surprise me either. I think, and the other side of this too, to kind of finish up our take here on them is, look, they're going to continue to retool and reload on defense. I mean, they're going to just keep bringing them in over there at Clemson. They're kind of like Georgia in that way, but they're the Georgia of the ACC on defense. They're gonna keep reloading on defense. They did a hell of a job recruiting this year on that side of the ball. This is where I think this all ties in, Chris, and that's the schedule they got this year, brother. Let's take a look at this here. This is Clemson's schedule this year, right?
Okay. Yeah,
they're going to play
my other PC or my other monitor here. I think they got some losses in here, potential losses.
Really?
Do you think Notre Dame, who we just touched on last week, you think that game is just a cakewalk for Clemson? I mean, they got to run the table to get into the fucking Final Four, Christian.
I think it's. You ask if it's a cakewalk. Here's the thing, though, dude. Yeah, I think they can absolutely beat Notre Dame.
This guy, the schlong on this dude. So you're telling me those last 4 games, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, I'm not worried about. North Carolina could put up some points, potential loss. And your team that you've been very high on in South Carolina, Clemson gets in. I'm putting you on the seat here, the hot seat there, Christian. I mean, damn you. I mean, to make the playoff, bro, you basically got to go undefeated.
Well, hold on one second. I didn't say that South Carolina. Here's the reality of the situation. You keep saying I said South Carolina would win the SEC East. You can win the SEC East, just so you're aware of it, but have a shit ton of losses outside of the conference.
I'm going to counter this.
How can you counter it? I mean, literally,
you have said on air that South Carolina could beat Georgia, which is just all you got to do is look at Christian now and look behind him. All this Georgia bullshit he's got hung on the wall and hats and all this bullshit. I mean, so I was assuming South Carolina is not a cakewalk.
Well, I mean, yeah, South Carolina isn't going to be a cakewalk in the same way Georgia's not going to be a cakewalk. I'm not saying South Carolina is going to come out there and dominate from the opening whistle, but what I am saying is, in both of the same scenarios here, look, Georgia's got to figure out their quarterback position. Cade Klubnik actually got a couple of starts and actually played not a shit ton, but he actually played a couple of full games out there. Carson Beck didn't really get full game experience last year
this
necessarily.
Is the last game of the season, though. Whoever Georgia's got at quarterback is going to be probably well seasoned by that point. I'm a little worried that you're looking at this Clemson thing and don't really know what to say. I don't think that schedule is as easy as you think it is. With Notre Dame, who we're relatively decent to high on, North Carolina, who I know you're not very high on, but I am with Drake May. He's my Heisman frontrunner. And South Carolina, bringing back Spencer Rattler, man. I think those last 3-4 games there, man, or 4 games, are going to be relatively tough. And I think the playoff, bro, this is why I did not pick Clemson to make the playoff.
Well, let me throw it back at you and let me ask you this question here, okay? They played Wake Forest. Okay, where am I going with it then?
You're going to go with Wake Forest. You're going to give me some bullshit. And then you're probably going to throw at me why I think Oregon's going to beat out Clemson for the playoff spot.
Well, I wasn't going to mention anything about Oregon, but I was going to say, look, Wake Forest, who's their quarterback last year?
Well, that would be my boy over at Notre Dame.
Okay. And who won that game last year? Clemson and Wake Forest. Granted, 2 different teams, but it was pretty much, I mean, you can discount defense on that fucking game.
Yeah, I know who won the game. And I'm not saying Wake Forest is going to be a formidable opponent for him this year. I think Clemson goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh shit, you just forgot. Sorry. Didn't even see on September 23rd who that. Oh, that one hurts. Oh, Florida State preseason like top 5, and you're just dismissing them too.
Yeah, I take Clemson in that game. Bro. I'll fucking take Clemson in that game. Look, you're saying Clemson's going to. All right, so let's look at this. Clemson, they're going to beat Duke. They're going to beat Charleston Southern, Florida Atlantic.
Okay.
I know they can definitely beat Florida State.
Or they can definitely lose.
Bro, come on now.
What?
They're not losing to Florida State. Come on.
You want to make a bet here?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's go. What do you got?
Oh, I don't know. Just put a bet down. We'll think about something here. I can't believe you think Florida State's a bunch of scrubs. You just said definitely going to win that game.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Wow. I don't know what you guys from Georgia do, like in your pastime or on the side. I have no idea, dude. Whatever. You think Florida State's going to be a kick? Well, that's fine. I think that game is going to be a crazy good game. I think that's a coin flip to me. I think coin flip Notre Dame is definitely going to be a lot better. I would lean Clemson, but North Carolina, I would even lean Clemson on that one. But I mean, South Carolina, I may lean Clemson too as well. But man, I don't think that the odds of them, those 4 tough games there, that they come out 4-0. If they do, God, yeah, please be in the playoff. But I don't think that schedule is that easy. I really don't.
I do. I mean, I do just because I think NC State's getting worse. They had a quarterback that transferred out. I think Miami, they're still a ways away. Wake Forest got worse over the offseason. Syracuse is, man, they're like the fucking Northwest, or they're like Northwestern of the ACC, right? Like they have a good year and then they just have like 4 shitty years right after that, right? So Notre Dame, I mean, again, we just covered them in last week's episode. I think they have a lot of stuff they got to figure out. They can't even throw bubble screens in practice.
You can't throw a bubble screen, Jared Lorenzen. You can't even throw one and get your fucking ass on the field.
First of all, not only could I throw a bubble screen, but I could throw it clear over the Rocky Mountains that we were just covering there, son.
I'm not talking about a Coors Light can. I'm talking about actually throwing it over the fucking mountain. Come on, dude. Come on, man. Are you fucking kidding me right now that you think you didn't touch on any of those teams? Florida State, North Carolina, South Carolina, Notre Dame are just like you literally lean Clemson the whole way. Okay, fuck it, man. Clemson goes 12-0 then. That should have been your hot take.
That's not my hot take. I just say, like I said, I'm not saying that they can't lose a game in here. I'm just saying I think that they're gonna make it back to the playoffs. I mean, a 1-loss Clemson makes it back to the playoffs, does it not?
What about over a 1-loss Oregon team? Only lost to USC, and USC's 5.
Okay, so I mean,
Florida State 6.
What, dude? No. First of all, Oregon's not going to have one loss this year. They're probably going to have at least 2 losses.
Bullshit. Okay, you know what? Save this for another day.
Yeah,
Let's run it down the road today, bro.
Let's save it a little bit here, Chris.
All right.
We'll agree to disagree. I got him making it to the playoffs. You don't, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. You're right. You're exactly right.